So this is the first video in a series of following this particular litter, which are 13 days old now, but we're going to start with week 1 from day 0 when they're right after they were born until the time that they go to their new homes, which will be 10 to 12 weeks on average for my litters. We will each week have a different video covering their progression, the things that they do. We'll talk a lot about choices and decisions and why we do the things that we do. And when I say we, I'm talking about preservation breeders. Preservation breeders breed to the standard, which is a blueprint of the ideal Doberman as decided by the Doberman Pinscher Club of America and is accepted by the American Kennel Club. That's for here in the United States. In other countries, they also have standards that are developed by that particular country's Doberman Club and accepted by that country's Kennel Club. But we're specifically talking about American Dobermans in this series. Preservation breeders are guardians of the breed, for lack of a better expression. We take very seriously breeding to the standard with the understanding that form follows function. Again, form follows function, meaning function always comes first. And function for a Doberman was as Louis Doberman's personal companion and protector. And you probably already know, but Louis was a tax collector in Apoldo, Germany. And this is back in the late 1800s. And he had to travel, the narrow lanes and so forth of Apoldo and do a quite thankless and probably much hated job of tax collection. And that made him not popular, I'm sure, as he was knocking on doors and asking people to pay their money or demanding it. And people didn't want to pay, I'm sure, sometimes, or didn't want to pay everything that they owed. So the Doberman was there to protect the master and make sure that nobody threatened him or attacked him in the line of his duty collecting money. And then, of course, once he did collect money, as again he's going up and down these streets of Apoldo, he could have been the victim of an assault or robbery from other people trying to steal that money. So again, the Doberman was in play there. Obviously, we don't need Dobermans anymore for that particular purpose. We don't go door to door knocking and collecting money. It's due to the government, thank goodness. But we still use the form and the function of the original breed for other things besides just being companion dogs. We use that for a lot of service type work, service dogs, therapy dogs, medical alert dogs, guide dogs. We use it in sports such as agility, dog diving, barn hunt, scent work, obedience, rally. And we do still have some dogs that do very brave things like search and rescue. But the dogs could not do any of those things without having that form and function still behind them. They have to have the proper form as described by the standard, not only physically, but that mental temperament and that mental acuity and the agility and the wanting to please in order to do all of these other things that we require and ask of them to do these days. So over the next several weeks, as we follow this litter, we're going to have a lot of discussions about decisions and choices and why I do the things that I do with my puppies, or talk about health testing and what is valid and what maybe shouldn't be put so much faith in as sometimes people do. We'll talk about pedigrees and what behind a pedigree can tell you about the dogs currently in the pedigree. We'll talk about why preservation breeders ask the prices that they do for their puppies. And you'll, I think, at the end of the series, especially have an appreciation for the prices we set for these puppies. And hopefully you'll understand when you see that price from a preservation breeder and you see that same price, if not sometimes more, from somebody that is not a preservation breeder, you'll take a moment and understand that one of these options is better than the other. Also, over the course of this series, hopefully by the end, you will understand what to look for whenever you go out and start looking for puppies, when you start investigating your breeders and doing your homework, which I hope you do lots and lots of homework. You'll understand what you're looking for. And the other side of that coin is that you'll also understand when you don't see certain things, or when you see certain things, that will set off a red flag in your brain, and you'll understand what that red flag means and why it's up there, and you will heed those red flags and turn around and go the other way rather than be abused of your money and abused of your time and sympathy and heartache down the road. So I hope you enjoy this journey. Some of these videos will be longer than others. Some will be shorter than others. You just never know. Week to week, we'll see what happens. But this is the first week, and I have already got all my film done for week 2, and I'm going to start editing that, and we'll just keep week to week going along here. And you can always look in the video description of each week's video for links to specific things that I've mentioned as far as theories or training or products that you can investigate further. So thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoy the journey that we're going to have over the next several weeks. So these are my puppies out of Champion Adamus Spring Training, Scentwork Advanced, BCAT, and CAA, and American Temperament, or AKC Temperament Test, and Register of Merit with the Doberman Pinscher Club of America. And this is Julep, the mother, or Dam as we call them, and her registered name is AKC Champion Exacta V Adamus. Thank our lucky stars. And as you can see, she's being a good mom right now. She has actually been a really great mom. Let's see, the last puppy was born about 5 o'clock, so that was 14 hours or so ago. So we have 10 puppies. We have 1 black male, 3 red boys, 2 black bitches, which is not a bad word, and that's what we call them, just like you might say mare or heifer or hen or doe or sow. That's just what we call a female dog. And so, so we have the 2 black bitches and then 4 red bitches. And here in America, by the AKC standard, what people would think of as brown or chocolate, we actually call red. And all of our markings, be it on a black, a blue, a red, or a fawn, are called rust. So Julep had all these babies in a 5.5 hour period, all 10 of them, which is pretty darn good, and did not need any kind of assistance. had them naturally. With, of course, me being midwife, I always am very much involved with my litters being born. I'm right here to catch every puppy as they come out, clean them up, take the sack off of them, clean the placenta, cut their cord, very rigorously rub them down. I use a DeLees catheter to clean out their mouth and their lungs. And I had just one puppy that was about a 2 or 3 hour lag in between it and the previous puppy. And I thought whenever he was born, because I think it was one of the red boys, he was very limp, and I thought he was a DOA, but he wasn't, and I was able to revive him and bring him back around. Like I said, everybody is doing good. So as far as whelping goes, and that's what we call giving birth in dogs, is whelping. It's WHELPING, and these are actually called whelps or puppies. This discharge, because I'm going to give you the good and the bad. This discharge is very common. You can see how, it's just really dark red to the point of almost being black. And it's pretty much like ink. Anything it touches, it's going to permanently stain. She will, of course, whenever she was whelping the puppies, there was a lot of mess, a lot of blood, a lot of this just kind of a discharge, a lot of placenta fluids, soaked. I soaked tons of towels, and these hand towels, I soaked them for about 3 hours in a big bucket with diluted Biz, and then soaked them again in the washing machine with Biz and laundry detergent, and then finally washed them. And they're still going to have, the permanent stains on these rags. And anyway, as far as this discharge, this will continue specifically for the next, 3 or 4 weeks for sure. I usually find it does start easing up then, but then every time you think, she's gone a couple of days and hasn't had any discharge, we're over it, then it'll pop up again. So usually, until it's finally gone, it's usually like 6 to 8 weeks. But if this gets on your carpet, you let the female jump up on your bed or your couch or anything, if it's made out of fabric, it's going to be permanently stained. So the first about 3 days is kind of rough. And what happens is, of course, these guys, they're not fully developed, whenever they come out. Their eyes are sealed shut, their ears are sealed shut. So the only way they can get around is really by sense of smell and by sense of touch, particularly smell. And that's why dogs are so driven by smell the entirety of their lives. That's the very first sense that they know and use. But at this age, just a few hours old, they really don't know how, they haven't made that connection between nose and brain to know, unless they're just right up on a nipple. And they do, like this litter took right away. As soon as I handed her the puppy, after I was done doing my thing, she cleaned their little bottom, and which I'll come back to in a second. And then I put them on a nipple, and they went to town. But as far as cleaning their bottom, the mother has to stimulate them, and if the mother won't, then the human does. So the mother stimulates them by licking them, and when she's doing that, they're peeing basically in her mouth, and she's cleaning that up, and she has to poop them the same way, just by licking underneath their tail. And when they first come out, they have what's called meconium in their colon, and it's almost like a tar. It's really thick and gooey and gummy, and that has to come out for them to start having, like a functioning intestinal tract.
So the mother has to get that out. And you can already see these little umbilical cords are drying up. It happens very quickly. Usually by the second or third day they fall off. Anyway, back to, well, this is what happens. And again, because the sense of smell is not developed, when they wake up, or if she's licking them and in doing so tumbles them away, they can't find their way back to her at this point. So this is what I do all day long, all night long, for like the first 3 days, is put them back close to the nipple so that they can find their way. Now, as you see, she kind of rolls puppies around and all, and so that will get them detached from the nipples, and they'll get rolled away, and then they get angry because they're not by the nipple, they're in the milk bar anymore. So you hear the puppy that is the high squeal, and then Julep, responding to them, was doing just a little squeak. Anyway, what's going to happen with the scent part of this equation, is that over the next, particularly 3 days, I find that sense of smell is going to slowly kind of kick in. And typically after the third night, they are pretty much aware enough of scent that they will start, if they're out here and realize that they're not with mom, you'll see their little nose working, and you can hear, as they're sniffing around, and they start, projecting over the way they want to. So it starts, obviously the first day, but you really don't see it in good use until about the third day. Typically, with a bitch, meaning Julep, the first few days, 3 to 4 days, there's very little milk. The first 24 hours, all you have pretty much is what's called colostrum, and that's antibodies that the mother produces from her own immune system that she will develop and pass through her mammary glands to the puppies. Ideally, in which Julep was before she came into heat, maybe a month or two beforehand, she was vaccinated with her distemper parvo to boost that, to make sure that her immunity to those two particularly egregious diseases was high, so that she can pass that on to the puppies. Colostrum is actually a large molecule substance, and the puppies only have the ability to absorb that large molecule through their intestinal tract for about 24 hours, and then after that, those holes, if you will, in the intestinal tract shrink down to only accepting normal size nutrition, and they can no longer get any benefit from colostrum. Since she does not have much milk going on right now, and again, that's perfectly normal. It's normally about the first 3 or 4 days, and then what happens is they say it's a milk letdown, and it's just like suddenly just a push, and those mammary ducts open up and really start letting milk down, and hopefully she'll be like her grandmother Valen and have plenty of milk to feed everybody, and I won't have to interfere after these first 3 or 4 days. Until then, I do want to make sure that they get enough nutrition, that they're staying very well hydrated, and that they get enough nutrients to keep their little bodies fueled up and going. And I don't want them to lose any weight. This one, as you can see, is just a little, it was naturally thin. I think this is one of the girls. Yeah, it's one of the little girls. So I'm going to do a little bottle feeding here. And I've been giving them a little bit of extra bottle nutrition about every 3 to 4 hours. And in between, they're obviously nursing on her. That nursing action is going to help stimulate her milk letdown. I've got my little note up on the wall about the pink, the collar colors. And so like BB is black bitch. And then you got brown RD, which is red dog. Yellow is RB, which is red bitch. Black is BD, black dog. He's the only black dog. And then down at the bottom you see like lime and purple. Those are both black bitches. But since there's so many, with being 10, I lose track at least of who I have fed and who I haven't fed. So that list helps me keep track. I just either, starting with whoever's closest to me, I go with, either the start of the list or the bottom of the list and work my way to the other end. And looking at this right now, we've got lime and purple, which are at the bottom of the list, so I'll start with them and work my way up. I am sitting here sweltering in this box. I've got a heat lamp, and underneath these towels and the bedding underneath it is like a 5-foot long ceiling heat mat. Runs right down the middle. So now this like foot over this way and a foot over this way, the mat is not there. And what you'll find is that it gives the bitch a little bit of room to get over and stay off of the mat so the puppies can stay on the mat. Now this mat right now, because our newborn is set at 102, it's very warm when you touch it, but by the time it comes through the towel and the bedding I have underneath this, it's probably in the maybe 97, 98 degrees, something like that. I'm sweltering, but the important thing is that the puppies are comfortable. Puppies cannot generate their own heat for the first about 3 weeks. They, just like us, when we need to produce heat when we're cold, we shiver, and that creates heat. Besides just, burning nutrients in our body. Again, the puppies cannot produce that shiver response until about 3 weeks of age. So what we do is start them out nice and toasty. Normal temperature in a dog is anywhere from 100.5 to 101, 102, something like that. So we want to keep them nice and toasty at that temperature. And as the weeks progress, up to 3 weeks, I'll start gradually lessening the temperature as their bodies start to acclimate to being able to produce their own heat. All right, so we're going to start with purple. Start at the bottom of the list, work our way up. Get a little purple girl. And I've got the goat's milk formula here. I made it up per the directions. This is a little newborn bottle. And you see how it just kind of drips out really nice and slow. Open up her mouth, put the nipple in there. And this is, I don't know, the 4th or 5th time today that I've supplemented them, so they've pretty much figured out what's going on here. So I'm going to, I need to make sure I keep this bottle up so that any air bubbles go up this way and not down into her tummy. And she will just drink until she's full and then kind of fall off on her own. Uh-oh. I know you're not ready yet. And over the next couple of days, as like I said, as Julep's milk starts coming in, I won't have to do this. One of the ways I'll know that her milk has come in for sure is that for the next couple of days, and like even right now, when the puppies nurse, you'll hear them smacking. So they're working, but they're not really getting anything. They're just getting that colostrum, which is, like I said, not much at all. And you know, it certainly doesn't flow out. You want any more before I take it away? No, you're done? Okay. Let's see, what was I saying? Oh, they go from that smack, smack, smack to where you can actually hear them go loop, 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 and that's like the most rewarding sound, because that means that mom gets to feed them at that point. Come on, are you hungry? Yeah. This is little lime girl. Yeah. Good girl. And I talk to them and stuff. You know, they can't hear me, but I like to think that they know the intention is there. And I always want the puppies to feel secure when I'm picking them up. So I try not to just grab them. I let them feel my hand around their body before I lift them up. And as I'm feeding this one, Julep's over there cleaning the purple one that I just had. Good girl, Julep. You're such a good mommy. Yeah. She's been really great. Normally, first-time mothers like this with 10 puppies tend to be very nervous, understandably. I'd be nervous with one puppy, much less 10 of them, crying and not having enough nipples for them, and certainly not enough milk at this point. But she has been, like her grandmother Valen, very relaxed with them. She's only been out a couple of times today, and both times I took the puppies up and put them in a little warming box until she came back in. Are you done? But it remains to be seen if she is also like Valen, in that Valen was very, very careful when she had her 2 litters, which also Valen's 2 litters were large. Open up, open up, open up. Good job. There you go. Oops, missed it. Here you go. Okay. Valen was really great about being very careful about where her feet were whenever she was getting in and out of the whelping box, not to step on a puppy. And if she heard a puppy crying underneath her, she would know it and, you know, respond to it and move. Some bitches, if a puppy gets up underneath them, they don't understand, you know, why that puppy's crying, and they just stay there. All right, so this PVC pipe that you see going around behind her goes all the way around the whelping box, and this is called a pig rail. And this allows the puppies a place to escape in case the mom does lay down. These guys are very upset. They've gotten away from the milk bar, and so she's because they're crying. She's concerned. So that's why I stay in here, because what they'll do, the mother, in hearing the puppy, even like with the 10, if one cries excessively, the mother will get up to try to comfort that one. And in doing so, will, upset the whole litter. And then they're all crying. And then she really gets upset. So it's easier, less stressful on the bitch to just go ahead and stay in here and help her get her puppies back. So you see her flipping the puppies around, make sure that she really gets them nice and clean on the tuchus. Alright, next we have the green collar boy. So let's see. Is that him over there? Come here, let me see. Let me see. Is that you? Yes, it is. Okay, come here, boo-boo. Come here, boo-boo. I've got my flash on my phone right now. But when their eyes start opening, that flash will not be on because their eyes will be very immature at that point. And I know, I'm working on it. Here, hang on. And I don't want to damage that gentle eye tissue whenever they first start opening their eyes. Are you gonna drink? Oh, you gonna drink? Yeah. Well, stop playing with it. You know. Yeah. Oh, there we go. Okay. And here we go. Good job. I have my litters 9 out of 10 times in my den / dining area, or open to each other. This is basically the main part of the house, and that way I've got plenty of room. I've got my table behind my whopping box that has all my supplies on it. I've got all my towels and the kitchen scale to weigh the puppies, paper towels, some hemostats, scissors, anything that I might need. Of course, the kitchen is right through the door. I've got my couch, which I will tonight pull up right beside the box, and that's where I will hopefully get a little bit of sleep. Like I said, hopefully my friend Christina is coming in tomorrow to give me some relief and help me out the first 3 or 4 days. You see how the tongue is? They wrap the tongue around the nipple, and they use that tongue almost like in the mouth as like a suction, and the tongue draws on the nipple and then it suctions it down into their mouth and throat. Let's see. Oh, yeah, you can see a little bit. You got some. Oh, let me have you see hello. Oh, you're one of the ones fussing. Mm-hmm. Here, This will make you happy. Over the next couple of days, this will just get easier and easier as they figure out the smell of this nipple and milk, as well as even myself. As soon as I start picking them up, they'll start getting excited knowing that they're going to get fed. There you go, Juju. Yeah, good girl. So after they all eat here, then they'll sleep probably for about 30 minutes if I'm lucky. And then they'll start kind of kicking back in again about wanting to be at the milk bar and nursing. So this 30 minutes is whenever I have the most opportunity to run to the bathroom, or run fix me something to eat, or maybe catch a little bit of sleep, make a phone call that's going to be uninterrupted with puppies hollering in the background. Yeah, you're hungry, Miss Yellow, huh? Mm-hmm. Good job. So let's see, while I am feeding the rest of these puppies, we can talk about the testing that the dogs underwent, the sire and dam, and why I bred these particularly two dogs. So I think I introduced Julep earlier as a champion. She's not. She's an AKC Grand Champion. When we say health testing for Dobermans as far as breeding, we're not talking about just going to your vet, your routine vet, and getting them to listen to the heart and, maybe doing their blood work and giving them their shots. We're talking about testing them for things that the breed is predisposed to genetically. And this little lavender girl's trying to suck on my finger already. There you go. For both Julep and Slider, they have both had, in the past year, which it's important to do yearly, they've had blood work that confirms that their liver and kidney values are within normal limits. They have had their eyes checked by an ophthalmologist to verify that there is no cataracts or anything that's, again, a genetic predisposition to Dobermans. They have had their thyroids checked, and this was not just, get your routine vet to draw, like a T4 value and send it off to the local lab. The gold standard in Dobermans is to get a thyroid panel that's checking several different values. It's also checking the autoimmune component of thyroid and sending it off to Michigan State University Diagnostic Laboratory. Again, that's the gold standard. So they both had that done to show that their thyroids were functioning normally. They both, within the past year, have had an echocardiogram of their heart, as well as a 24-hour Holter monitor, and that's basically a 24-hour EKG. And both of those are checking for signs of dilated cardiomyopathy. The echocardiogram is checking the structure of the heart, making sure that particularly the left ventricle is not enlarged, that the walls have not stretched. Let's see here. It gives you a snapshot, at least of that day, to know that there's nothing going on with their hearts. Now, it doesn't mean that 6 months later that they won't have arrhythmias going on their Holter monitor, or that their echocardiogram won't show damage to the left ventricle. But at least of that day, you know that they were healthy. Like I said, all those are done on a yearly basis. Then you have the once a lifetime type test, which would include your OFA hips, which is checking for hip dysplasia, which thankfully we are reducing in the breed. Not as common as it used to be, but it still certainly is something to watch for. Once a lifetime thing is their DNA. And the DNA for Dobermans, for American bred Doberman, or American line Dobermans, is what we call DCM1 and DCM2 genes or mutations. So those are two of the known mutations that affect American bred Dobermans. In there. Oh, don't be fussy. It also are checked for DM, and which is a neurological disease where the sheath, like they call it myelin sheath, that goes around nerves starts degenerating, and you can kind of think of it as the kind of like the plastic or rubber that goes around electrical cords. If you have an electrical cord and part of that protective coating is worn off or cut off in certain areas, then the electricity is not going to conduct as well through that cord as it would be if it had been fully protected. So that myelin sheath is protecting those neurological impulses as they go through the nerves. It's not terribly common in Dobermans. It does pop up every now and again. Again, it's one of those things that through the use of genetic markers we can kind of keep an eye out for and avoid producing that. Also, the DNA test will tell us about VWD factor 1, which is akin to hemophilia in humans. There are multiple factors in the blood that promote clotting. VWD factor 1 is just one of those factors, but it is, again, a genetic predisposition for Dobermans. So if they have the mutations for it, they are definitely more susceptible to having bleeding episodes. Now, if they, let me rephrase this a little bit better. Your test for VWD is going to come back either clear, which means they don't carry a genetic marker for it at all, or a carrier, which means that they supposedly don't or are not affected by it, but they certainly can pass it on to their progeny if it links up with another similar gene and the dog that they are mated to. And then there's affected, meaning they carry both of those mutations. But not all dogs that test, or definitely I should say the majority of the dogs that test as VWD affected are not clinically affected by VWD. I believe the last stat I heard was somewhere around 2% of DNA affected dogs are actually clinically affected. And the reason for that, again, is because you've got all these other clotting factors in the blood, and VWD is just one of them. So as long as those other clotting factors are doing what they should be doing, then even if your dog test is VWD DNA affected, you're going to be fine. Now, originally, we being myself and Julep's owners, were going to breed Julep to a male who is a champion that I finished the championship on many years ago from another kennel. And unfortunately, they did not have the opportunity to take him for an echocardiogram. And of course, being a big issue in Dobermans, it's estimated that about 60% of American Dobermans carry or will be affected by DCM. I wanted the next best thing to an echocardiogram that I could get kind of on short notice. And the answer to that was to run a pro-BNP panel. And pro-BNP is it's a chemical released by heart muscle that has been damaged. Dilated cardiomyopathy through that stretching and enlargement. The heart muscle releases this pro-BNP, and it's picked up in the blood supply by a blood test. And it did come back that the dog definitely was having some heart damage. So we did a very quick decision to not breed to that dog, even though everything else tested fine. He had, I think, 0 arrhythmias on his 24-hour Holter monitor, even though he's, I don't know, 7 or 8 years old, which is really good. But because of that heart damage, I definitely did not want to take that risk. So we bred her very, very last minute to Slider, who does have all his health testing current and is clear on it, at least as of the date of the testing. So that's why we bred these two particular dogs. And Julep is a red and rust, and Slider is a black and rust as far as phenotype, which is, phenotype means what you can see, but genetically he is what we call a black 3, and that means that he carries the dominant black gene, and he also carries the recessive red gene. And so each puppy essentially had a 50-50 chance whenever the egg met the sperm of either being black or being red. And in this case, it ended up pretty much like that. We ended up with 6 reds and 4 blacks, so 60-40, with each puppy having a 50-50 chance. So not bad. Anywho, so we just fed, and I'm gonna let Miss Julep out. I'm gonna put the puppies in a box to keep them warm and let her out to do her business. And then I'll bring her back in and put the puppies back with her, and hopefully they'll still be settled down, and Julep and I both can maybe get 30 minutes of sleep before they start wanting the milk bar. So that's what's happening, less than 24 hours old, and we will keep in touch throughout the course, again showing you the good and the bad. I am by no means the best breeder, but I have been raising puppies for 35 years, and I was doing things with my puppies as far as extensive socialization and exposure to new environments and stimulus and all to create a more sound and confident puppy way before it became cool to be doing such things. So you'll just get to see how I do it, and that way it'll at least give you some ideas of what to be looking for whenever you're looking for a puppy and when you're looking for a breeder, the things that ideally you'd like to see, and give you some red flags about things to watch out for, that if you see, then you'll know to turn and walk away before you get sucked in and end up with a lot of heartache. So for tonight, myself and Julep and the 10, I call them June bugs because this is June 8th that they were born. So my 10 June bugs say good night, and we'll see you later in this week.
Last night, when they were less than 24 hours old, going to bed, it was pretty rough. And they had me getting up about every anywhere from 5 to 20 minutes. Sometimes, I just would lay out on the couch and barely stretch out, and they'd cry, and I'd get up and get one back to the milk bar, and then go barely stretch out again, and there'd be another one I'd have to go rescue. And then sometimes it might be 20 minutes before I had to go rescue somebody. So, needless to say, I didn't get a lot of sleep. But pretty much all day today, they've been much, much better. And again, this is the good, bad, and the ugly. So this is the ugly. Julie licking baby pee-pees and baby poo-poos and then licking the discharge from her vulva. So you definitely don't want any kisses at this part. But anyway, yeah, so they kind of turned around very, very quickly, where they are much more relaxed. They're spreading out. That means they're nice and comfortable temperature-wise, but it's not so hot that you'd see them open mouth breathing or anything. They're just very comfortable resting. Today, I've only had to go in like once every hour or two to relocate somebody. So they've been really, really good. Juliet continues to be very good, very calm, very watchful about where she's stepping. She's eaten great from day one, which is oftentimes unusual. But even so, some of them are still really picky about eating the first few days, but she's been really good about it. I swear, whenever I have puppies, I feel like 75% of my day is spent cleaning, whether it's swapping out bedding in the whelping box and running it through the laundry, or once they're older, then picking up pee-pee and poo-poo papers, or poop scooping. It's just never ending. But then once everything is cleaned, then I can bring Julep back in and put the puppies back with her, and all is right with the world. And she can nurse them while I'm running things through the washing machine. When I have litters, I'm doing 1 to 2 loads of laundry every day. Thankfully, Julep is still eating great. She does, these first few days, eat in the whelping box because it's difficult to get them away from the puppies. Some dams just won't even eat the first few days because they're so concerned about the puppies. But Julep is so nice and calm that she's been really good about eating from the get-go. And you can see here, as she's eating, I'm taking advantage of the opportunity to touch each puppy and let them smell me. Really start bonding with them. This is always the sweetest thing when you see puppies snuggled up with their mom. Did you notice that twitch That's actually very essential to newborn puppies. It's called activated sleeping. They're making vital connections between the brain and the muscles. These movements are strengthening the muscles and improving the coordination, preparing them for the day that they're going to start trying to walk and play with each other. As the puppies progress beyond the first 3 weeks, then you'll start seeing that twitching, the activated sleeping, ebbing as it becomes no longer necessary. Every day, we always check each nipple to make sure that we don't see anything unusual. There's a little bruise there. I'm going to keep an eye on that. Check each nipple to make sure that it's expressing, hush, baby. Nice normal milk, that it's not any kind of infectious type of material coming out. And it's not unusual. She doesn't have a nipple. Oh, no, she does on this side. But it's not unusual for them not to have an odd number of nipples. But you just want to check all of them, make sure that they don't feel particularly hot, that they're not hard, that you don't feel like there's an issue going on. Like I said, if you see any kind of infectious material coming out, yellow or green, you want to stop nursing on that side till you get it checked out. Okay, now we're going to put the puppies back on you. So, puppies are officially 3 days old. I had to get my little fan, because if you remember, we've got this heat lamp going. We've got a heat mat underneath here that's set at 100. Let's see. It's the ambient temperature here right now. 91. So even in the house, it's warm. But in here especially. So this mama needed a little bit of air. So let's put that up here. So it'll be blowing on me while I'm doing this. Puppies today are officially 3 days old. So they were born Sunday night, Monday morning, finished the last one, Monday morning. It was, I don't know, like 4 o'clock or something. So Tuesday morning would have been, they would have been a day old, Wednesday morning, 2 days old, Thursday, which is today, 3 days old. So this is officially when we start early neurological stimulation. And what I have in front of me is my list of puppies, because I want to make sure that I do all of the puppies, but I also want to make sure that I don't do anybody more than one time per day, because you don't want to overstimulate the puppies and actually have adverse reactions from overstimulating the neurological system. So keep in mind with early neurological stimulation that this day 3 through about day 16, there's a lot going on. They're learning how to use their nose and how to locate mom and how to locate the nipples. They, about day 10, we should start seeing the eyes starting to crack open. So there's that stimulation going on. 2 or 3 days later, we've got the ears starting to open up. So that's going to be going on. So as this day 3 through 16 progress, there's a lot of neurological connections being made, and the brain just expanding in awareness. So we're taking advantage of that very critical period to stimulate the nervous system just a little bit. It's nothing traumatic, just a little bit, and then putting them right back with Julep to comfort them. And it's basically going to teach their immune system that sometimes things happen, that it's okay. You can handle it. It's nothing to be excited about, nothing to stress about. So we're going to start with the pink color girl, which is right here. All right, so number one is just taking a Q-tip and tickling right between her toes. She doesn't have to show that she's feeling it, but we're just doing that 2 or 3 seconds. That's it. All right, the next thing is I very carefully hold her. I'm holding her upright. 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000. Then I'm going to rotate her down. 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000. Now I'm going to very gently roll her on her back. 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000. Then the last thing, you notice all these that where I'm manipulating her up and down, all this, she's trying to suck on my finger. All of these, I'm just really holding her securely so that she doesn't feel unsecure. It's okay, baby. All right, so last thing, stop, leave it. You're right there. Is we're just going to put her feet down on this. On 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000. Okay. So she can get off now, and that's it. Now she's back with mom. She didn't cry or anything. Sometimes they'll just to holler when you're doing the upside down. But it might even not surprise me with this litter because I have been supplementing them, and they're already on day 3, they're used to me handling them, that they may not react at all to even being turned upside down because they are starting to trust me already. This, by the way, is a wet towel, hand towel, over one of these ice pack things. And you can use just a wet towel, but I like to add the ice pack so it stays nice and wet. Again, you think about the ambient temperature here, 90 degrees. When they hit this, they know it. Again, it only takes 2 or 3 seconds. Are you going to check it out on your own now, huh, Missy? Yeah? Big girl. All right. That was the pink girl. She was checking out the cold on her own. Let's move that back here so we can see better. Okay. So next, we have brown collar. Yeah, it's the with the red light in here, it throws off some of the colors of the collars, makes it a little bit difficult sometimes to see. Okay, so now we're just gonna tickle between the toes, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000. Okay, hold him upright. 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000. You're gonna turn him upside down. 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000. And you 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000. Oh, it's okay. Okay. And then we're going to just stick him on the ice pack. 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000. And he's up. We'll put him back with Mama. Good boy. Alrighty. Then we got Teal. And who's under here? That's Yellow. Of course, Teal's way over in the corner. Pull these 3 puppies that are over here out here. Here, baby. Alright, so yeah, that's Teal. Alright, so Teal's upon the little babies, boys. Little baby boys. Oh no, baby girl, excuse me. Excuse me. Little baby girl. Yeah. Okay. So 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000. She's trying to nurse on me too. Okay. Say 1,000, 1,000, 3, 1,000. Are you came for a shot? 1,000, 2,000, 3,000. Upside down. 1,000.
absent 1,000, 10,000, and 1,000, 1,000, 1,000. Mama's getting an early start on you. Okay, coming off. Doom, very good. All right, now, sweating still. Lavender is... I can't tell you what a huge difference early neurological stimulation makes in the puppies in building puppies that are confident, are not easily stressed by just day-to-day things that go on. Don't be sticking your tongue out at me. No, and don't eat your toes. And wait. 1,002, 1,003, 1,000. Perfect. All right, I feel somebody behind me. I don't know where that is. All right. Yellow. Who behind you, my chance? No. Yellow. Okay, go. There you are, hiding at the bottom of the pile. Oh, goodness gracious. Goodness gracious. Here we go. Here we go. Go. And so, we have our appointment tomorrow to get our tails done and to better do claws done. Yes, good job. Very good. Okay, and off we go. Our black. Oh, geez, so now I just had, there we go. The one and only handsome black boy, yes. Yes, you are. Black boy just like her daddy. 9,002, 1,003, 1,000. I don't know. You got dance to do, places to go. Okay. So everything was nice and slow. Not triple. Whoa! He says, I'm off. Nothing is being jerked around. Green collar boy. Go get the boy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Wait. Oh, this is pretty. I'll tell you what, this red light just really throws me off. Green and red make brown. Human eye. You see these? Some no look nice. And now gonna go upside down. Here we go. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. No. No, let's go upside down this way. Yay. Oh goodness gracious. He's Mr. Independent. He's also the one that fusses a lot whenever he can't get to the milk bar. You know it. And you know it's gonna probably be him. Come on, Mr. Black. Come up over here. He's the lost. Okay, now let's see. Orange. Just saw it maybe a second ago. Put it here. Come on. I hate to part you from the nut bar, but needs musts. Yeah, needs musts.
And I have, if I haven't had, just didn't have a Q-tip at hand, I just use my nail sometimes to stimulate between the toes.
I know, little boy. I know, little boy. Very good. You're so brave. Mm-hmm. Yes, the gods are so brave. Yeah. Oh, they were gonna get the puppies.
Mm-hmm.
Job. Good job. Good morning, Graham. Okay. Oh, we're such a sleepy girl, huh? You're such a sleepy girl, yes. Okay. Yep. 1,000, 2,000 dreams. So last night was a lot better, sleeping wise. Either that or they were just, I was so exhausted that I slept through anything. But since my couch is right next here to the popping box, and I tend to be a light sleeper, I think they did much better. They woke me up a couple of times, but it was just from them waking up to go to the nut bar. Nobody was lost that I had to come rescue. So that worked out very well. I was very happy with that. And Purple, you are the last one, Daddy Drone. Again, Purple and Red make ground as well. Nice. So a couple more weeks with the heat lamp, and then we can turn. You are sound asleep, girlfriend. You can take the red light out of here, and she's just gonna sleep through the whole thing. See if that wakes you up. She said, "Hey, yeah, that kind of wakes me up." She said, "No, I know about that feeling." Anyway, a couple of weeks we can take this out, and then you won't be so confused about, or I won't be so confused about the colors of the collars. Anyway, so I guess that's the news of today. You said they slept well overnight, and we're starting neurological stimulation. We'll be repeating that. And I use the generic we, meaning myself and this. These little June bugs. But we'll be repeating the neurological stimulation every day, starting today, day 3 through day 16. So I will leave you with a sight of these puppies nursing. And see if we can get you in here closer. I'm going to do 2 things while I've got Clem in here. And let's see if you can see the little paws. And little paws have little sharp, let's see if I can put it there. Yeah, you can see the little sharp nails on them. So whenever they're nursing, they do, this number to, kind of milk the milk out, so to speak. And these little sharp nails scratch Bunny, scratch Julep. So I'm just going to take just the tips off of these nails, the little dragon part of it. Oh, he's trying to nurse on my finger. See that little smacky noise he was just making. And these are just little, what they call cat nail clippers.
doing such tiny little amount that he doesn't really even notice it. I'm just going to get that hook off of there so he doesn't scratch Mama. Let's see if he'll do this. Well, are you going to do some looking gloves? No? Okay. All right, so I'm going to do that first. And then I go to the supplement. Yeah. And they've really figured it out now. Oops. Except when you get too eager and it falls out of your mouth. I feel. Okay. And being the 4th day, the puppies have started to recognize my scent with that food's coming. So they're already as excited to smell me as they are to smell Mom. Okay, Juju, are you going to try to clean them while I'm working? Yeah? Okay. As you remember from yesterday when we did the neurostimulation, this is kind of the same thing where we stress them a little bit by doing the nails and then immediately either put them on Mom to nurse, or in this case, I feed them. Normally with litters this large, if I've got to do any kind of supplementing, I do what's called tube feeding, which is passing a tube through their mouth, down the esophagus to their stomach, and syringing the formula in that way is much, much, much faster, but it is a little bit risky. You've got to know what you're doing, or else you can inject the formula into their lungs instead. And you can also overfill their stomach, again, going back up the esophagus and back into the lungs. But I thought it would be just nicer and cuter for the purpose of this journey with you guys, for you to see them nursing on a regular bottle. And I did pick up this morning that I could hear some of the puppies when they were on Julep, they were swallowing instead of smacking, which is a good sign. It means that her milk is starting to drop down. It's still not a great supply, but we're only on day 4, so hopefully it'll continue now that it's started. I've got to call the vet and see when I can get these guys in to get their little tails docked and their dew claws off. Either later today or sometime tomorrow at the latest. No, tails are normally done at 3 to... You don't step on nobody. Be careful. Juju, over here. Juju. Over here. Down a bit. There you go. Good girl.
Good job, little Tina.
Okay. So that's what we're going to continue to do today. And like I said, then the neurological stimulation day 2. And see that doing some tails and dew claws, which I'm not going to videotape because I understand, people can be squeamish about that kind of stuff. But trust me, I've participated in enough of them to know that the dew claws, they go out and it's over. And the tail, as soon as they are gluing the tail and stitching the tail up or stapling the tail up, they're already falling asleep in your hands. So the puppies had their tails and dew claws done today, and they had their neurological stimulation, and they got their first visitor in the form of Uncle Twain. who comes and helps me from time to time, taking care of babies, and I show his dogs for him. Twain is a masterful groomer.
It's not.
Oh, goodness.
It's not that serious. It's not that serious. It's really not that serious. Yes. Yeah. I know that no.
So I think they will be sleeping good tonight with all this activity they've had. It's day 6 for the June bugs, and they got to meet their second set of visitors in the form of Jim and Beverly, who own 2 of my champion Dobermans. They both take the time to make sure that each puppy is touched and has the opportunity to smell them. And I wanted to show you one of the other things that I've been doing with the puppies, aside from the early neurological stimulation, is early scent introduction. And I do this, again, because the little minds at this age, 3 to 16 days, are just growing exponentially. And little doors and windows are opening, making connections. And it's just such a great time to take advantage of, to introduce puppies to things, to help them grow into very stable, confident adults. So early scent introduction, you're taking things, you're taking 1 scent per day, and it can be things that you're getting from outside, maybe some pine straw or a pine cone or some fresh cut grass, things from the kitchen, spices. You don't really want to use food, but any kind of spices. You can, if you do scent work, you can grab your scents, your clove, anise, things like that. If you have, this is not obviously a hunting breed, but if you had a hunting breed, you could use things like quail wings or something of that nature. I'm gonna reach out to a couple of my friends in the next day or two and see if I can actually get some like used rat litter or something that smells like a rat, because so many of my dogs, besides scent work, also go into barn hunt. So I'd love to be able to introduce them early to some rat type smell. So anyway, what I'm using today, I just went outside and took a trimming off of one of my butterfly bushes, and this is very fragrant. I mean, wow, this is really fragrant. So what you do in neurological stimulation, and again, I've got my little list here so that I can make sure I get everybody and don't expose them more than once to a scent. And we're going to start with little Pink Girl because she was the very first one born. And do it up here so you could see what's going on. So for 5 seconds, we're going to hold this up to her and just kind of see what her response is. There's no right or wrong response. And she's just going to sleep through it, which is fine, because even though she's sleeping through it, she's breathing, and so she's getting that that stimulation to her brain. All right. Oh, you're going to smell it too, Miss Choppy? Or excuse me, Julep. Keep calling Julep and Joplin. And they're changing their names, which I'm sure they don't appreciate, but, that's what happens whenever you have 2 girls with the J names. All right, let's see if you can find Mr. Brown Boy. Well, come here, Buster. He was definitely the biggest of the bunch right now. All right, and you're awake. Let's see what happens when we put this by your nose. Okay, and he's kind of checking it out, but then he ignores it. That's fine. You know, they can like it, in which case they'll kind of like keep at it and keep checking it out. They can dislike it, meaning they'll turn away, maybe even sneeze, or try to pull away, or they can kind of be indifferent, and it doesn't matter what the response is. Because all I'm trying to do is just expose them and make neurological connections. So here we have Lavender Girl. Hi. She said, whatever. Okay. Oh. There's Josh, Alicia. I called your name a minute ago, didn't I? All right, Lavender. Not all we need. Yellow. Okay. On the black boy. Oh, see, he kind of like stuck his nose into it. He was that was interesting, huh? Okay. Green boy. You kind of thought that was interesting too, huh? And orange.
Horse.
Sticking his tongue out at it.
You're sticking your tongue out at everybody.
Slime.
Oh, you're sticking your tongue out too, huh? So, let's... Don't know what to think about that.
Get your tongue in. Get your tongue in. Yeah. And last but not least is this purple girl.
Here. Be careful. Were you going to taste it? Okay.
Hey, here, Liz. All right, kids, and that is it for today. I did the early neurological stimulation earlier today. Think about it, Jop. Balin, what do you think about it? It's okay. I guess you can't eat it. Tonight, the puppies will turn a week old. And so I just want to kind of give you an end of the week update of what was going on. And as you can tell, I'm finally getting enough of a break that I can go take a shower and do my hair. And I am sleeping most of the night. A couple of times, I might have to get up once or twice to fetch a puppy. Not so much now because they're getting away from the milk bar. They're really using their nose to hone in and get back to her. The problem I'm having with Julep is that she's not paying particular attention to where she's laying down. And so sometimes she lays on a puppy and
they make this trilling noise whenever that happens, whenever they're like in distress. And I can't even begin to mimic it. But when it happens, they start trilling, and I can certainly hear it. I know that she's got to be able to hear it, but she just kind of like is just not paying attention to what's going on. So in that case, I have to get up and make her move, or pull the puppy out from underneath her. So let's see what else. Oh, and really the sleep that I'm not getting is more so because of Julep, because she has diarrhea, which is very common, and the girls, after they give birth, because they're eating, shit, pee. During the whelping, they eat some of the placentas. I do limit them. I don't let them eat all the placentas at all, because then the diarrhea would just be god awful. I usually let them have a couple of placentas because it is very nutritious. It's got all this blood and nutrients and so forth in it that have been sustaining the puppies. So I jump up 2 or 3 times during the night whenever I hear her pop out of the box, because I know that when she does that, she's probably got to go out and blow off some diarrhea. Yeah, but then she comes right back in and takes care of the babies. So milk-wise, she's doing pretty good. I am still supplementing, I think like 3 of them, just to make sure that they don't get too far behind. I'm supplementing, let's see, turquoise, pink, and orange right now. So, and I keep an eye on her nipple situation and make sure, like, that bruising that we saw the other day isn't getting any worse, and it's not, thankfully. And the milk that's coming out is nice and white. There's no yellow or green to it. No fever. Keep an eye on the temperature every day. And otherwise, everybody seems pretty happy. It's 90 degrees according to the thermometer there in the corner. And I think that's going to be it for this week. And so we're going to wish the puppies a happy first week. And we'll see what happens in this coming week. Yeah, the good, the bad, and the ugly. That's just the way it is whenever you have puppies. Yeah. Okay. Alrighty, girlfriend. Yeah, your breath kind of stinks, but my breath would stink too if I was, taking care of that stuff. So we'll forgive you. It is 5 o'clock in the morning. I am currently at the emergency vet with this little girl here.
Take a bow. Good job.